Amelia Earhart, a legend in flight. Introduction. The airplane bounced among the clouds. Giant black storm clouds lay ahead. The year was 1932. The airplane carried Amelia Earhart. She had been the first woman to ride in an airplane over the Atlantic Ocean. Now, if she made it, she would be the first woman who fly an airplane over the Atlantic. And she would be the first person to have crossed the Atlantic in an airplane twice. But first, she had to succeed, and the trip was dangerous. Airplanes in 1930s were small. They didn't have instruments that today pilots do. A pilot had to go by her sense of sight, keeping tight control of the airplane. The black clouds ahead were too large to fly around. So Amelia pointed the little plane right into the ice, froze the plane's control, sending it into a tailspin. Amelia struggled to get control. Finally, the ice melted and Amelia was able to pull the plane out of its spin. Many hours later, Amelia set the plane down in Northern Ireland. She had crossed the Atlantic Ocean in an airplane she flew herself. She had already been famous. Now she would be a legend. But Amelia Earhart would be most remembered for something else. While trying to fly around the world, she disappeared. Winged machine. The world's first airplane flight happened in 1903. Two brothers, Wilbur and Orville Wright, successfully flew the winged machine in North Carolina. Many people thought the idea of flying was exciting. It was also dangerous. Planes were fragile and slow. They did not fly well in bad weather, and many pilots died in crashes. By 1937, airplanes had improved a lot. Engineers designed better airplanes, but accidents still happened. Cousins George. Anyone who knew Amelia as a child could hardly have been surprised by her later accomplishment. She was born in Kansas in 1897. She spent most of her time with her family and friends. They climbed around the banks of Missouri River. Amelia made up games for the children to play. She and her sister were such active children that their mother made bloomers for them to wear. Unlike dresses, bloomers allowed girls to be as active as the boys. When Amelia was 21, her family moved to California. One day she attended an air show. The airplanes dazzled her, flying in loops and doing stunts. She knew that she wanted to fly. With her parents' help, Amelia took piloting lessons and saved enough money to buy an airplane. Before long, she was flying in an air show herself. Time to fly. Amelia later moved to Boston and found people were poor, especially children, could receive help. She loved her work there, but then the chance of a license presented itself. George Putnam, a publicist, searched for a woman to be the first ride in an airplane over the Atlantic. It was a dangerous idea. 3 women had died trying to cross the Atlantic the year before. Only men had ever crossed the Atlantic in an airplane. Anyone who would try it had to withstand danger and fatigue. George thought Amelia Earhart was perfect, and she was eager to go. Amelia Earhart flight end in her lifetime. Amelia worked at many jobs. At that time, it was unusual for women to have jobs at all. Nurse, magazine editor, social worker, writer, pilot, airline executive, clothing designer, professor. She also helped start the 1990s and a group of women pilots that still exists today. Amelia was just a passenger on that 1928 flight, but her life would never be the same. The first woman to cross the Atlantic made headlines around the world. After the flight, she was famous and busy writing books and giving speeches about flight. She also designed clothing and luggage for active women like herself and helped launch 2 airlines. Later, she married George Putnam. She also continued to fly. By the time she was 39 years old, Amelia had made every major flight day once except for one. The greatest challenge left was to fly around the world. Only one pilot had ever flown around the world, but he didn't follow the equator, the longest and most difficult route. This was the route Amelia would fly. Would she make it? By the time, no one doubted Amelia Earhart's flying skill. On May 21, 1937, she took off with her navigator, Fred Milner. They went from California to Florida in Lopez Electron. Last flight. Amelia and Fred first stopped the Electra in Florida. The new plane had crossed the entire North American continent. Next, they flew to South America, Africa, India, Asia, and Australia. It appeared that Amelia Earhart would once again pull off a historic flight without a hitch. On June 29, 1927, they stopped in New Guinea, just north of Australia. There, they followed the airplane and checked the map. When they took off again, there was no hint any trouble to come. As they flew close to Holland Island, the radio message became odd. The U.S. Coast Guard cutter Itasca went offshore to receive the signal and help them find the island. Those radio signals were irregular and strange. Amelia spoke of a storm, yet the weather over the island was clear. More than 20 hours into the flight, Amelia's voice said, "We are running north and south." She was never heard from again. What happened to Amelia? This question is still a mystery today. Itasca and the U.S. Navy began searching for Amelia's plane. The search continued for weeks. No sign of the plane. Amelia or Fred was found. After a year of searching, Amelia's husband believed that she died at sea. But is that the full story? Some people think Amelia and Fred survived an emergency landing and were picked up by a Japanese ship. Others think that Amelia landed the plane, but at a different island. There, she and Fred were able to live on native foods, but died of either sickness or old age. Many people believe the easiest answer is that the plane landed in the water. Perhaps Amelia and Fred drowned before they inflated their life raft. Whatever happened, there is no doubt that Amelia is one of the greatest Amelians of 20th century. She showed everyone that women didn't have to live with limits. She showed people that anyone could fly. She was a legend.